Namaskaram everyone, my name is Shubham Rajput and I welcome you with all my heart to yantras.com. This is our second segment to your Choose Your Own CPU series in which we are discussing various parameters and various essential aspects that you need to know in order to go out and pick a CPU for yourselves. In this series we have already discussed how it is you need to understand what your need is when it comes to the computer that you want to build, and on the basis of that need, what is it that is absolutely essential for you is something that you need to come out on when starting to look for what CPU you want. That is something that we discussed in the previous segment of this series. In this segment, we are going to look into what are the various parameters. We are going to go in depth as to what are the various different parameters that you are going to look into when choosing a CPU for yourselves. Why is this important, you ask? This is important because once you truly understand what these parameters are, can you take an extra step to actually understand in depth what is it that you want your CPU and your computer to fulfill. So in this segment, we are going to look into what are the various parameters that you need to look for and how those parameters will eventually in the subsequent sections be applied to getting a CPU for yourselves that performs well. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the previous video. I'll leave the link to the previous segment of this video in the description box below, and I will also leave a link to the next segment of this series at the end of this video. So enjoy this video, guys, and I hope you learned something incredible from this. Let's get started. I hope you understood what clock speeds are. Now let's move on to another very simple and very interesting topic called cores. What are cores in a CPU? Cores are actually physical layers that exist within a CPU that are capable of performing operations individually. Of course, more cores means more operation and more effective and more responsive your CPU will be. So let's also understand what cores are with the help of an analogy, right? Let's say you have a company. This company operates in a building. This building has different floors. All of these floors are capable of performing their operations individually and create the results that they want. Let's say the top floor is devoted just for finance. Next floor may be devoted to design. Other floors may be devoted to production or things like that. If you understand this exactly when transferred over to the CPU world is what is called as cores. Of course, more cores means more operation and your system will be much more responsive and you can perform a lot of tasks if you have large number of cores. But how many cores do you actually shoot for is something that will depend on what your need is. We'll discuss about that, how all these parameters apply in real world and how you can use them to pick a CPU later, but this is the general understanding when it comes to cores. Alright, so now that we have understood what cores are, let's get into understanding another interesting topic called threads. I have to confess something here. The first time I heard what threads are, I thought threads were like sub-cores to actual physical cores that speed up a CPU's performance. Very soon I realized that was how funny my understanding regarding threads was. If you understand that's what threads are, you will be forgotten to understand them because that is what it seems they are, but that's not what threading actually is. Threading is nothing but an intelligent scheduling mechanism that is used by the processors in order to execute instructions fast. Let me make it a little bit more clear. CPUs are really fast. These are the fastest devices that you will encounter in your PC. I'm not touching on GPUs, but CPUs are generally really fast. Let's say I threw an instruction over for the CPU to execute it. Once it executes it, you know what it's doing if another instruction is not thrown at it? Nothing. So, threading is an intelligent mechanism in which this nothingness gets filled. That's what threading is. Are threads always important? Will you be always needing threads to increase the performance? It depends on certain factors. Should you pick up a CPU with a lot of threads? That's also something we'll discuss in the later part of the video. But in this point, I want you to really understand what cores and what threads are and what is the difference between them. Now, let's move on to another parameter that we need to understand, TDP. So what's TDP? TDP stands for thermal design power and it is actually a measurement of the maximum heat that your CPU will generate. Why is this term so important? If you truly know what the TDP of your CPU is, you can make a slight prediction as to what kind of cooling mechanism that your computer will be needing for the entirety of your PC to perform holistically. I don't want you to be very serious about this particular parameter. I just want you to know okay, this is what it represents. Why does CPU generate heat? Well, it's very simple. Every moving thing in the cosmos exudes energy. CPU cannot be different, because what is CPU? At macroscopic level, CPU is nothing but a lot of electrons moving in conjunction. If electrons are moving in conjunction, you can bet there will be heat. So a cooling mechanism will be needed in order to take this heat out of the CPU. So if you have an idea of what TDP is, you can look into whether you will be needing air cooling for your system or water cooling for your system. It depends on many other factors, but this is something just I want you to have in your mind, having your perspective that this is what this parameter means. We'll discuss this in the later part of the video, where we actually pick a CPU by looking at all these parameters. So I hope you understood these parameters. Let's move on to the next parameter, which is cache memory. Cache memory is the fast access bucket that the CPU uses to fetch data and instructions faster. CPU cache is a memory that is inbuilt into the CPU, from where CPU can just access data and instructions at lightning fast speeds. You might be asking me, well, there are already so much memory, why is there this extra need to have another memory into the CPU? Well, for this I would like to point out one thing that I said previously in this video, and that is CPUs are really fast. The time it takes for a CPU where it picks data and instructions from its local cache is far more smaller when compared with CPU running towards RAM to pick up data and instructions. So this is again an intelligent arrangement within a CPU, so that the whole execution and operation is being performed really fast. This is one parameter that I don't want you to worry about too much, because if you're picking any CPU, they will be evolved to a point where you actually don't need to worry about what kind of cache memory do they have. In any case, I'm going to explain what kind of cache memory a CPU has. First is L1 cache. It is the fastest of all the cache memory that a CPU has, but the space that it has is very small. L2 cache is a bit more spacious than L1, but it is slower as compared to L1. L3 is the slowest of all cache memories and is the most spacious amongst the three. So again, this is something that you need to understand, that this is something that is there inherent in the CPU. This is one parameter that you need to have in your mind, but I don't want you to worry about it too much, because any CPU that you pick up in this day and age will be evolved sufficient enough where it will have the cache memory that it needs. Let's move on to another very interesting topics, and that is IPC. IPC stands for instructions per cycle. Let's understand IPC in this sense. If there are two processors that feature the same number of cores and same number of threads, but they are from two different companies, they will have different IPCs. Not just that, if there are two processors that feature the same cores and same threads, but are built on different generations or different architectures, they will have different IPCs. In general, newer generation processors have better IPCs than their predecessors. IPC is one such area where Intel has continuously dominated Ryzen. If rumors are to be believed, that is supposed to be changed with the newer generation Ryzen processors that are coming up. Please don't quote me on that, we don't know anything for sure, but we are looking forward to this. So IPC is one such parameter that you will not generally find in a specifications sheet. It's an important parameter that you generally have to know about by looking at various reviews. Please understand, I have explained all these parameters in short. I'll be creating videos about all of these individual parameters separately, but I'm telling you all of these parameters with a basic knowledge, so that once you have completed this video, you come at a point when actually go out and pick a CPU for yourself. Alright, now that we have understood what individual CPU parameters mean, let's look into how these CPU parameters apply into real world situations. Let's talk about clock speeds. Higher clock speeds means higher response times and program load times. So does that mean just having a CPU with higher clock will lead to faster program execution? It doesn't work like that. See, there's this misconception that I would like to address. As soon as people see that their computer or their laptop gets slow, the first thing that they think they should do in order that their system performs a little better is upgrade RAM, right? To a higher number. If you have 4 GB RAM, you want your collective RAM to be 8 GB now. If your system was running on an 8 GB RAM, now you want another stick to make it to a 16 GB system. I'm not saying that won't affect performance at all, but I also want you to understand the performance of your whole system is bottlenecked or limited by the slowest device. Now I'll give you 2 to 3 seconds to look into what is the slowest device in your system, right? Did you come up with the device that is actually bottlenecking your system? It's hard drive. I want you to understand the hard drive that is generally used on a laptop or our PC are those 7200 RPM hard drives. They have served us better, but now it is the time for SSDs. Any system that you look to create, or if you ask someone who has already built a computer for themselves, if you ask them what is that one component that you should not miss if you're building a computer in this day and age, it's SSD. The performance is incredible, I want you to understand. So if your computer or your laptop is suffering from slower load times, you will see enormous performance difference if you can just upgrade your HDD to an SSD. So we're talking about clock speeds. Higher clock speeds will definitely transfer itself into a higher responsive system. Higher clock speeds will also help in single-threaded workloads. What are single-threaded workloads? Applications and programs such as Photoshop, web browsing, gaming, and audio editing, all these kinds of applications actually benefit tremendously if the individual core clock speeds are really high. Truth be told, many game developers now are moving towards an arena where whatever game they develop actually uses more and more cores and threads, but as of now, as of recording this video, most games are lightly threaded. So if you want to build a computer just for gaming purposes, and if you ask which CPU to choose from someone who has an experience of building PCs, don't be surprised if they push you towards Intel, and they will be right to do so. It also depends on certain other factors, but this is the general trend that you will see. On the other hand, if you are interested in using applications such as Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, AutoCAD and things like this, these are the applications that actually benefit tremendously when there are lots and lots of cores and threads available. So now you see, you have a perspective as to what kind of CPU do you want, right? So if your priority is just gaming, you don't need to invest a lot of money in higher number of cores and threads. Limited number of cores will work very well. On the other hand, if you truly want to build a PC for productivity purposes and also you want to computer for editing and rendering purposes, you might be well off by investing a little bit more money into choosing a CPU that features higher clocks and threads. Alright guys, I hope you are enjoying this segment and you are learning a lot from it. And now that you have understood what these various parameters are that dictate the qualities of a CPU, you now are very much lensed as to understand what various terminologies mean when it comes to CPUs. In the next segment, we are going to discuss one of the most dreaded and one of the most discussed topics when it comes to computers in general is whether you should go with Intel or whether you should go with an AMD CPU. Intel versus AMD, in other words. That is going to be an interesting video. I hope you found this video interesting as well and you learned a great deal from it. And if there is something that you think you might have left out or something that you might not have understood, I'll be leaving a link to the blog post that I created specifically for this topic over onto my blog yantras.com. You can just go ahead and go through that blog post for some in-depth understanding for the similar topic. Also, I'll be creating separate videos for individual topics that we discussed in this video so that you can know all of these topics in much greater detail than you have already learned here. Till next time guys, I will leave the link to the next segment of this series in the description below and also in the card here. I hope you all have a great time guys and I'll see you in the next video. Namaskaram.